How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this is a story on a female prison called HMP Styal, which is in Wilmslow in Cheshire. We don't know much about female prisoners, female offenders, and the female prison estate as a whole. I mean, I think there's 12 female prisons in England. I don't think there's no female prisons actually in Wales. There's 12 in England. Apparently, they're not categorised. You've got like Low Newton, Bronzefield, Downview, Foston Hall, I believe, as well. And obviously, Styal Prison is one of those female prisons. Now, what's happened on Friday, it sounds like, is a reporter from the Manchester Evening News, my local paper, has hung around outside the prison waiting for the next batch of prisoners to be released in order to ask them if they'd be okay to be interviewed. Two of the ladies have taken up the offer. The prison holds around 486 prisoners. Headline reads, "These women are getting out of Styal Prison just in time for Christmas. This is what they face." We spoke to two women being released from inside the closed category prison about their plans for Christmas and their hopes for the future. On a cold December morning, stood outside of the gates of Styal Prison, you'd find it difficult to believe that Christmas is just a few days away. Festivity is lacking and it's business as usual at the prison, with solicitors passing through to meet clients and prison officers arriving for their shift. The majority of female inmates at the 486 capacity prison will spend their Christmas inside, except for a few select few who are being let out just in time. We spoke to two women being released from a stint inside the closed category prison about their plans for Christmas and their hopes for the future. Their prison experience had almost been identical, but their version of Christmas upon release could not be more different. Stood in a small and exposed shelter outside the prison gates, bags and suitcases in tow, the women discussed the next stage of their lives. Tina is in her 40s and was jailed for 13 months in November of 2017 for an offence of possession with intent to supply. "It was my first time inside for drugs," she said. "The last time I was in prison was 27 years ago, when I was pregnant with my second child for a different offence." Unlike many inmates at Styal, Tina has a husband and family who stood by her during her time inside. She stood waiting for her husband who was coming to collect her and take her back to their home in Barrow in Furness. Her excitement and anticipation was palpable. "I can't wait to see him," Tina said when we asked about her husband. "He'll be taking me back to a different house now as we've had to move whilst I was inside. Tina will spend Christmas under a roof with her husband and she hopes her two children aged 27 and 32. Her outlook for the new year seemed positive, telling us she hoped to use the skills she had gained inside to become a hairdresser. "They do provide training courses whilst you are inside, but you have to ask for them. They don't come to you," she said. "I got my level 2 qualification inside, so hopefully that can get me a level 3 now that I'm out." Mandy is in her 30s and had originally been serving an 18-month sentence after smuggling prohibited items into another prison. She was released but recalled to prison in order to complete a further 28-week sentence after breaching what is known as a top-up supervision order. Unlike Tina, Mandy has nowhere to go for Christmas. As she spoke to us, she waited for a taxi to take her to Manchester city centre so she could attempt to find temporary accommodation in time for Christmas, but she wasn't optimistic. "I've got COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and mental health issues. But I've not been given any medication to take with me," Mandy said. "I've got to go straight into Manchester now to try and find some accommodation, otherwise I'll be homeless tonight. If they haven't got any accommodation, they'll probably just give me a tent for me to sleep on the streets if I'm lucky." Mandy felt that being released at Christmas in fact makes her life more difficult, as crucial services such as job centres would be closed over the festive period. "If I don't get to the job centre in time today, I won't be able to access any benefits until after Christmas," she said. She worked as a cleaner whilst inside the prison and now has a level 1 qualification, but worries she won't be able to get a job without stable accommodation. "What's the point in learning these skills if I can't get a roof over my head? It just feels like they are setting us up to fail," she said. The woman who asked not to be pictured said that during their time inside, they had been reassured that the prison service would find them accommodation upon release. But Mandy claimed that she and many other prisoners were being left with little or no support, causing them to reoffend and end up back inside. An inspection report of Styal Prison in September mirrored Mandy's experience, highlighting a significant shortage of stable accommodation in the community for released prisoners. Peter Clark, who's the Chief Inspector of Prisons, said they received good care whilst in Styal and were often stabilised, supported and helped to address poor behaviour and other problems in their lives, only for this to fall apart once they were released, often leading to another custodial sentence. The report also highlighted that 65% of women released were not on home detention curfew and did not have suitable accommodation, and that some women had been in and out of custody 11 times in 12 months. Both women we spoke to said they felt that healthcare provided to inmates inside the jail was appalling, claiming many prisoners were not getting any physical or mental health support that they needed. Tina said that she had multiple occasions where a prisoner needed to be taken to hospital, but this wasn't arranged. Illicit drugs such as heroin and spice remained a prominent feature within the prison, according to Tina, who says she saw an increase in the number of inmates hospitalised due to spice. This September, a report praised Styal for its conditions, which included a safe and decent environment which emphasised aspiration and hope. The women who we spoke to were positive about the training they had accessed, but the plight of Mandy, who faces homelessness on release, supported the view that more support was needed on the other side of the gate. Styal Prison was built in 1898 and operated as a children's home until 1956. In 1963, it opened as a semi-secure prison for women, and secure accommodation was built in 1990. A Ministry of Justice spokesman said our reforms to probation are designed to encourage long-term rehabilitation and ultimately reduce reoffending. And the latest figures show a 26% fall in the number of women reoffending within 12 months of release in Greater Manchester. We're improving support for offenders leaving prison with a £22 million investment through the Gate services, which will help strengthen ties on key partners, including the third sector, local authorities and the police. At the time, we are investing £6 million as part of the government's rough sleeping strategy in pilot schemes, bringing together prisons, local authorities, probation providers and others to plan secure and sustained accommodation for offenders upon release. The Manchester Evening News contacted the prison's healthcare provider, Spectrum Health, for comment. They told us, Spectrum is working hard to continually improve our services, and we welcome feedback from our patients and service users. We would encourage anyone who has feedback, whether it be a complaint or suggestion, to contact us. Spectrum has a complaints policy and will take all complaints seriously and investigate them thoroughly through our complaints procedure. This includes those who have completed their time at the prison and are now back in the community. Guys, failing. Right. The female offender there said it best, right? What is the point in me gaining skills that I can use upon release, like back in community, so I can become a productive member of society when I can't even have a roof over my head, right? You can't apply for a job, right, if you've got nowhere to live. If you've got nowhere to live, you might have a mobile phone, but you're not going to have charge for your mobile phone. You're not going to be able to access credit and stuff like that, are you? Because she's been released on Friday. She's got to get everything done. She was one of them had serious mental health issues and COPD, which like I said, it's breathing. It's to do with your lungs. So that person has to get to probation, has to get to homelessness advice. That could be citizens advice. They've got to then try to get a doctor's appointment, which by the time you've been released at that time in the morning, you're not going to be able to get an appointment that day, even if it's an emergency appointment. You're trying to sort out benefits as well. The system's broken, guys. It really, really is. And it frustrates me massively. You can't apply. These people, right, leave. One of them, two prisoners leaving prison, identical stories whilst inside. Both done courses. One did a hairdressing course. Sounds like she got to level 2. She's going to look into getting a level 3. She's got a husband and 2 children. Lives in Barrow and Furness. Hope she has a great Christmas with her family and stuff. The other prisoner, leaving prison, no support network, no family ties, nowhere to live. And like I say, guys, she could have battled addiction while she was inside as well. She's released with £46. She'll go into town, she'll score some drugs, she'll end up sleeping in a doorway. There is, the government are currently, the Ministry of Justice, I believe, are currently looking at why releasing prisoners on Friday. they're saying that it heightens the risk of them reoffending, because on a Friday, obviously most services close up Saturday, Sunday and stuff like that. So local authorities, for example, job centres, things like that. Now, like I say, it's very common for prisoners to leave prison and go on to benefits because they've got to, because they need income, don't they, to survive? Because otherwise, a lot of people in prison, guys, pick up addictions. Like I say, I've seen people go into prison with addictions to one drug, and then the example, there was a guy on my wing, I won't name him, good kid, used to hit me up for coffee a lot, right? And then he used to give me burn. Now I don't smoke, so I just give it to one of the boys on a wing or something, like one of the cleaners or someone that was struggling for the burn, right? And yeah, I just like. I was chatting to him and stuff, right? He used to be a drug addict, yeah. He used to be addicted to heroin. And I said to him, how come you've taken the spice? He said, I'm trying to wean myself off the heroin. Now I'm addicted to spice. What does that say for the potent nature and addictive nature of the drug? Now, spice is a problem. All illicit drugs are problems in prison. But spice is an epidemic within prisons. It's beyond words. And it's hit female offenders. It's hit male prisons, young offenders. And like I say, it is big business and stuff, but leaving prison with no accommodation, guys, I'm sorry to say that it's inevitable they're going to revert back to type and they're going to go back to crime. And you're talking within 24, 48 hours. You leave prison with £46. Say that you've got an addiction to a specific drug, right? Say it's heroin or something like that, or like you might get three £10 bags for 25 quid, or you might get, like I say, go and buy a ball of spice or something, yeah. That'll run out, right? Then you've got no income. Your body's craving the drug, making you physically ill. What do? People shoplift, people commit crime, they go into pubs, they sell the stuff that they've stolen. Ordinarily, shoplifters will go for items that they can resell. Meat, coffee, razor blades, aftershaves, do you know what I mean? Clothes, CDs, things like that. Commodities that people they're easy to sell on. That's why if you go into the supermarket, you'll see razor blades in safers, which is the plastic security casing, and things like that. So like I say, guys, it's inevitable that if you've got nowhere to live, you're going to revert back to type, go back to crime. And then the government are like, oh, reoffending rates are so high. Right, it's shocking. Healthcare within prison is shocking. These are ladies of this company that I've not actually heard of them before. Something Spectrum, is it, or something like that? 1 second, guys. Let me just go back to the story. Spectrum Health. Never heard of them. But the fact is, when you've got female offenders saying that prisoners needed to go to hospital and this wasn't arranged, they're playing God with prisoners' lives, guys. Now, and we know that prisoners' lives are disposable to the government. We know this. But like I say, guys, prison wasn't designed for women. Prison wasn't even designed for old men. Prison was designed for young, fit men, right? Not children, because we're talking secure training centres and stuff, or YOs, yeah, because they're coming through, aren't they? 18 to 21-year-olds. But prison's not built for female offenders, absolutely not. And then they wonder why prisoners fall through the cracks. What's the point in giving you skills and training and education if you can't use them skills because you haven't got a platform to work up from? You need a level to work up from. You need a foundation. There's no foundation, and then you fall through the cracks, and then you go back to crime, and then you end up back in the paper, and people, oh, scumbag. It's like, no, mate, they've been failed by the system. And like I say, people commit crime over and over and over again. And it angers me, guys, and it really frustrates me. It's happening in male prisons. It's obviously happening in female prisons. Now, like I say, two prisoners leaving with very different situations. One faces uncertainty and possibly will reoffend and end up back inside because they don't want to be on the streets. Probation, the prisons, the Ministry of Justice, just need to get your act together, man. You're playing God with prisoners' lives, and you're playing God with their futures. And like I say, suicides and stuff, going back, end up homeless, fall back into addiction, commit crime to feed your addiction, reoffend, eventually get caught on purpose to go back to prison recall. Shocking, guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about the story. Link in the description below like I always do. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.